And the purpose for this blank doc is to help explain interest. So that always does this, by the way. Wherever you click in the first part of this, drives me bonkers. Anyway, get rid of that, call it interest. And the analogy I was going to give is giving $100 of, and by the way, can you always put the dollar sign first? That's coming out of fashion. And even though we say $100, it's $100. And you'll learn to read it like that. So let's say you put $100 into your bank account. Well, the bank's going to give you some interest for using their money. And it's per year, per annum. So let's say you earn 2% interest, which isn't much, but if you put it in a savings account, that's not so bad. 2% interest. That will be earned. Now, that is per year. So yes, it's only $2 after a year. But after a year, you end up with $102. And you put the dollar sign first. So, not so bad. You didn't do anything. You got $2. And you only put in $100. That's pretty good. And then the next year, you get 2% of 102. Well, now you got to do some math and figure out what 2% of 102 is, right? That's a little trickier. And I would show you with my hover cam, but I won't right now. What you can do is take your calculator and do 102. So equal to 102 and then times 1.02. So this is the $102 you had after the second year. And you're timesing by 1 because you get that whole back. Then you get 0.02%. Or 2%, which is 0.02. So I'm going to go 102 times 1.02. And I'm going to get $104 and 4 cents, which equals 104.04. So after 2 years of doing nothing, you've earned $4. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but obviously most people put, more than $100 into their bank account. And also there are other opportunities to make more interest. So that's pretty good, right? The next year you've got $104. I like that. And 4 cents. Now, how does this happen? How can you get interest? How does the bank give you free money? Because the bank is taking your money and your friend's money and your parents' money and someone else's money, and they're doing the same thing. They're investing it somewhere else. But because they have really smart money people and a lot of money to invest, they can invest at a higher interest rate. So maybe they're making 4%, but then they get to keep that extra 2%. Maybe they're making 10%, then they get to keep that 8%. So they use your money to make more money, which, although kind of unfair, at least we're making money from that interest. Now, that's interest that can be earned, but interest can also be taken away. So, same idea, only let's deal with a credit card. So when I got that credit card, I had, let's say, a $2,000 balance. There were $2,000 that I could use up before the bank said, whoa, stop. You might not be able to pay that money back. And that's based on your income and all these different things. So I was a student at the time, didn't have much income. $2,000, I think, was about what it was. Now it starts at 0. And if I never use that card, I never pay any interest. You might pay an annual fee, say $50 a year for an annual fee. And on the card, sometimes they'll try and tempt you with credit cards with no annual fee. You can go to a lot of stores and get credit cards, not even from banks. Then they'll charge you an annual fee plus the interest. So what happens with that? Well, let's say I went out and said, I want to buy a $100 guitar pedal. And so I get that guitar pedal, and it cost me $100 on my credit card. Kind of feels like free money. You just literally tap the card, and then you get that $100 guitar pedal. But the thing is, as soon as you do that, you start paying interest. Now, the bank gives you 2, 3, 4% interest depending on what you're doing, but they take away, well, credit cards are notorious for about a 19.99%, sometimes higher interest. We're going to round up to 20% for our calculations for credit cards. So they charge you 20% interest. Now it's per year, or the Latin per annum, and still that's something to consider. So after a month, if you don't pay off that $100, then you would pay 20% of that. So you would owe $20 divided by the 12 months, and that would equal, what is that, 1 3/4. All right. 12 goes in once, and then there's 8 left over, and 8 is 2/3. See, 20 divided by 12 equals 1.6. I told you 1 2/3. $1.66. By the way, you're going to have to know how to calculate interest. So if you kind of got a little sleepy when I was talking earlier, you're going to want to perk up. So the bank charges you on that purchase after 1 month $1.66, because you take the 20% per year. 20% of 100 is 20. Divide it for the 12 months, and it's $1.66. But if you don't do that if you don't pay the second month, then you owe your $100 plus the $1.66, and all of a sudden you owe 20% of that. 20% of that will do 101.66 times 0.2 equals that, divided by 12 equals 169. So now you owe the 166 plus the 169. Now again, I'm using small numbers to be friendly and simple numbers, but usually these numbers are a little bit bigger. Every month, if you don't pay this, there's the interest. Now, here's the nice thing. If you pay off your credit card before the end of the month completely and there's zero balance on it, you don't pay any interest, which is what you should try to do. But you can see this kind of free money that you can just put off, and they'll have a minimum payment. Oh, that was a question on that. Financial literacy diagnostic. There's a minimum payment. And you see what happens is people don't just buy one thing. Maybe they'll then go and buy something else, and they'll buy something for $200. And then you're going to add that to the 101.66. 101.66, and you're going to get 301.66. And if you don't pay it off at the end of the month, you're going to pay 20% of 301.66 divided by the 12 months. Well, the thing is, the bank's clever. They like you to do this. They love this. They want you to pay a minimum payment. What you should do is you should pay the $301.66 and not pay any interest on it. But what most people do is they pay a minimum payment, which might be $25. So then they subtract, say, $25 for their minimum payment. And the next month, all they owe is, whatever that is, $276.66. And they're like, okay, I paid my minimum payment. You keep doing this, but you keep accruing interest the entire time. So then if you buy anything else with it, you can add that. So then you've got your $276.66. Then you add, let's say, ooh, those are a sweet pair of Adidas shoes. You get them for $200. I don't know what shoes go for these days. And now you've got a total running bill of $476.66, and then you're paying interest on that every month. Now, if we take 20% of that divided by 12, we'll go 476.66 times 0.2 equals $95. I'm going to divide that by 12 and get $7.94. But still, something that you're having to pay for nothing, just for borrowing, money from the bank. That's the cost of borrowing. And all of a sudden, you are at, well, you can tell plus 476.66 equals 484.60. Now you have to pay all that off, or else you're paying interest on that, and that's a little harder. By the end of the year, you've paid, if you don't pay it off, you've paid about $100 in interest for that, which is a lot. Are there any questions about credit cards? We're going to talk about them a lot more, and you're going to learn a lot more about it.